Hey everyone, it's Mike Andes. Welcome to another live show here. And today we're going to be talking about the recession as we head into it and whether or not you should be growing your business or if you should just be focusing on profitability, stacking cash aside. And what is that balance? Because ultimately we know that if we're going to a recession, we're going to be able to buy things for pennies on the dollar in just a matter of 6 to 12 months. And so the question is, well, do I save up cash right now? Or do I grow and expand my business because leads are coming in? So we're going to talk about that. Before we do, though, a quick couple of announcements. First off, thank to everyone who supported the channel. 45,000 subscribers. We just passed yesterday. A little bit of a milestone. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate that. And yesterday, I actually sent out our first members club email. And in that, I had talked about several things that are somewhat new. And we're hiring another person for the media team here. And so thank you all for your support, the channel, everything that you all give, whether it be landscape business course members, lawn care web design members, just all different products and things. Links are in the description. And everyone that has ever been a customer or paid for anything of my services or products, I put on a newsletter. And yesterday we sent our first one out. And on there, I had a few articles of things that I've written, and then also some things in the economy that I think are coming up. And that leads me into today's topic about the recession that is, in my opinion, already happening / going to really affect a mainstream over the next 6 to 12, 18 months. And so one of the things that I linked to was a video about car repossessions. And when you look at things that are more liquid, the more liquid something is, the faster it can move with the economy. So things that are more liquid are going to be things like cash. They're going to be things like credit cards. The stock market is relatively liquid. And then you look at things that are less liquid, like cars. Like it's harder to buy a car and sell a car. You can't do it like in 10 seconds, like you can on Robinhood when you're trading an app, trading a stock. And then you look at real estate. It takes a lot longer for that to change and evolve. Then you look at things like employment. They also take a long time to evolve. So when you look at indicators of where the economy is at, I think the things that are the things that have shown the first cracks over the past 6 to 12 months that I've been looking at is things like consumer demand, really looking at how much people are using their credit cards, et cetera, the consumer spending. But now what's really, really interesting is you look at the car market, there's a lot more repossessions now happening than ever before in the past few years. Even in 2017, 18, 19, like there was not a lot of car repossessions. The stock market was doing well, especially after 2018. The real estate market's been going up for the past 14 years. Everything's been going really, really well. But right now, there are definitely cracks in our economy, and a few of those things are starting to go beyond just credit cards, beyond just cash. The stock market is down like 20, 30% on all the indices and beyond. If you're in more speculative stocks, 50, 60, 70% down in many cases. And now we're starting to see in things that are less liquid, things like your cars. So high repossession rate happening right now. And this is, in my opinion, people have bought cars during 2020 and 2021, whether they used PPP loans that they shouldn't have, whether they used stimulus money, whether they used what they would have otherwise been spending on their rent or their college debt. And now they were buying, brand new vehicles and brand new trucks and cars. And all of a sudden, anything that is a bubble eventually pops. And so this is why when people are like, oh, like used cars and trucks are so expensive right now. I'm like, look, it's a bubble. It will pop. And it's easy in the moment to be like, oh, this is never going to change. Like real estate prices will never come down. Stocks will only go up. Like it's very easy in the moment to get wrapped up in the fact that things are only going to continue to get bigger and bigger and the bubble's just going to continue. But like it doesn't. And so this is why last October I said I was selling out of the stock market, is because I felt like, hey, we're getting too much bubble territory here. And then I looked at the real estate market being like, it's probably going to get hurt too. However, rents are going to continue to rise over the next 12 to 24 months. So I talked about that in October. And now what I'm seeing with credit cards being used less, and the people who are traveling are the ones with money. So again, the most insulated group is going to be people with wealth. That's great, but still going to have a massive impact on our economy, especially frontline employees, when the lower and middle class really starts to get hit very hard by rising interest rates, as well as cost of energy and fuel going through the roof. Rent is going to just continue to go up like crazy. Just like I had talked about last year, rents are going to keep going up because as interest rates go up, it's going to affect the buying power to buy new houses, but it's also going to make it more unaffordable to buy a house, which therefore is going to make rents go up because people are going to bail out of buying a house and they're just going to go and rent. And then also as you have unemployment go up, People are less likely to buy houses. They're more likely to rent. So all of that to say that we are going into recession. I've talked about this very consistently. But now the question is, when it comes to your business, should you grow your business right now, or should you just focus on increasing your margins, focus on increasing your efficiency, take whatever trucks or equipment that you have now and make it as efficient as you possibly can, and then next year grow? Or potentially just wait until till the bottom of the recession. Wait until there is things going for pennies on the dollar. Wait till the cost of trucks does go back down and the cost of land and real estate does go back down. When do you grow your business is the question. So yesterday, this was kind of sparked by one of our franchisees. His name's Thomas, and he had texted me and he said, hey, like, we got tons of leads coming in. We've gotten 10 new mowing customers in the past 2 days, I think he said. And that's just over the phone estimates. People call in a command center. Command center sells the job on the phone. They set up the job for the franchisee. And, we've gotten like tons of these coming in, and we've already maxed out the few trucks, employees that we do have. And this is their first spring rush. And so there's 2 owners, I think 2 or 3 employees already. He's like, well, we could easily get another 2 trucks and another 2 or 3 employees because like we got tons of work. We're booked out. We're already falling behind with just the mowing jobs. And so we have a couple big, HOAs that we also take care of, and they're really lucrative. We already raised the price, and like those are really high price, high margin. So we don't want to like cut those out. So the question is like, well, do we continue growing in 2022, or do we take what we have, increase prices, just make it really, really efficient, turn off all of our estimates, turn off all our leads, and then just grow, next spring rush? In my opinion, spring rush next year is going to be a golden opportunity for anyone that just stays in business. This winter, I've said it the past few months, we're going to see a record number of landscape companies that are for sale and that go out of business. You're going to see it all over the place. Just wait for Craigslist to have like 5 landscaping companies in your local area that are for sale. People are not going to see any profit in their businesses this year if they have run them unprofitably in the past. It's going to be like, if they've run them on thin margins, like 5, 10, 15%, or without systems this past year, they have a few employees, they're not going to want to be in business. And so you're going to see a record number of people going out of business this coming winter. And so going into next spring is going to be a massive opportunity, in my opinion. You're going to have just a massive opportunity if you can just stay in business. And when the unemployment rate is higher next spring compared to now, right now it's like 3 something. When that becomes 4.5 or 5 or 5.5 next spring, it's going to be easier to hire people, easier to expand and grow. When you have a bunch of competition that doesn't show up to their first few cuts because they went out of business over the winter, massive amount of opportunity. And this is just for lawn care and landscaping, but every industry is going to see this. And so, those are great opportunities. And furthermore, trucks, equipment, everything's going to actually be in stock, hopefully by then, when the supply chain catches up and things are not, people are not price gouging you because there's nothing to sell. I went to a Honda dealership the other day to get something fixed to my car, and literally the entire car lot had maybe 15 cars, and it usually has about 400. Like, it's a massive car. It's completely empty. That's not going to be the case in a year. It's just not. And again, everyone always like goes into this thing of like, oh no, like it's always going to be like that. We have the supply chain, and then like shutdowns over in China. Like it's like no, in a year that's going to change. It's going to be different. And so the one side of the thought process is like, well, then we'll wait till then. We can buy trucks for 30-40% less, and we like literally the other day on a mastermind for our franchisees, we were talking about repairs. In the past, if a truck had like a $2,000 or $3,000 repair, I literally scrap it and just go buy another one, because we were buying trucks for like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. I did not, prior to 2019 or 2020, I never spent more than $8,000 on any truck for Augusta Lawn Care ever. Well, now you can't buy for anything half decent for under $15,000. And so yesterday we were talking to our mastermind, and it's like $7,000 someone just spent for a new engine. I just spent $6,000 on a new engine at a location. Like it's all of a sudden worth it to spend $6,000, $7,000 on a new engine compared to go buy another truck. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. That's not going to happen forever. So the one thought process is like, well, then just wait till next spring rush. Wait till it's easier to find employees. Trucks and equipment are cheaper. I can go get some land maybe to buy for my shop space or my storage space for way cheaper. Rent's going to be cheaper. And all that thing potentially could be true. However, this is the deciding line, in my opinion. Do you keep growing your business now, or do you wait till next spring rush? Wait till the recession's in its full swing? Because we're going into it right now. Like when you're really in a recession, in like peak fear of recession, when the best prices are going to be there, when the unemployment's the highest, when there's the best opportunities, when you really want to go all in, is when mainstream media starts picking up massively. When you start seeing like Tucker Carlson saying it, with CNN's, it's all over them. Like when they start saying stuff, when they start saying like there is a foreclosure crisis, and when they start saying that's peak fear, that's when we'll be there. And I think we're still a couple months away from that, honestly. Right now, the only people thinking about recession, like I was last year, is people looking ahead. Now, only people thinking about recession is like investors, business owners, people who invest in the stock market. That's who's thinking about recession. CNBC is talking about it. Just you wait until it starts hitting mainstream media and the people that are watching on their couch every single night. That's when peak fear will happen. And so that could potentially be a great time to grow your business next spring, this winter, for example. Well, this is my opinion, and this is what I told our franchisee that was asking me about whether or not he should grow. I said, look, what I would recommend is only take customers right now that you have a zero customer acquisition cost on, ones that are just coming to you for free. In other words, you don't have any marketing on, you're not spending money on Google or Facebook or any sort of ads, you're not spending money on Home Advisor. They're coming to you for free, and you're charging the prices that you know you need to in order to make good margins. So a higher premium price. That's the type of growth that I would take now. And then I would be stacking aside all the money that you would otherwise be spending on marketing and advertising and growth right now, stack that aside for a rainy day, i.e. when the recession is in full swing, and you can deploy that and get 2 to 3x the amount of return on that money compared to if you spending it now. And that might mean doubling up people in your trucks. Like instead of having solo one guy going out on a truck and mowing a lawn or doing fence repair or doing roofing, whatever you do in your business, instead of doing one, maybe you do 2 people in the truck, so that way you can store up the cash so that that $20,000 truck now all of a sudden becomes $12,000 and $13,000 in a year or two. That is an absolute possibility and a potential. So in my opinion, the only way that you should be growing right now is if leads are coming to you without any marketing. Okay. Now, if you're willing to grow and expand, totally fine. Just realize that you're going to be spending more right now on trucks, equipment, hiring is going to be harder right now than in 6 to 12 months. And so what I would say is A, take what you have, make it profitable, raise your prices, and then just focus on stacking cash. Or B, only take leads, new customers that are coming without you spending money on marketing. So that way you have no customer acquisition cost. There's no cost to spend to get new customers. They're coming from your website. This is why it's so important. We've talked about getting websites for years. This is why it's important to have a website that just consistently is pumping in leads. I talked to the franchisee yesterday. He's like, we've turned off all our marketing. Like leads just are coming in. That's what you want. That's when you have a lot of confidence to raise prices and lose 5 or 10% of your customers when you know you're already getting 3, 4 new customers every single day. Why in the world would you not raise your prices? And why would you not want to lose the 10% of customers that are giving the most headache if you're confident that you're getting free leads in the form of no additional customer acquisition costs coming in? Why would you not want to do that? And so that would be my recommendation to everyone out there right now. Do not be spending massive amounts of money on advertising in the form right now to grow and expand, especially we're past the spring rush. Your customer acquisition cost is going to be higher anyways. Like save that money till next spring rush when you're going to get twice as much for that money. But ideally, right now, if you're investing anything, you should be investing in sources like a website. You should be invested in things like branding, making sure your trucks are painted, whatever it might be, so that you're getting leads organically. I'd rather pay $3,000 to get my truck painted and decaled and all the rest of it, but that brings in leads in perpetuity that I don't have to keep paying on. All right. It's like buying real estate versus renting it. If I'm going to go rent real estate, I'm going to pay for every single month. That's what a Google ad is. That's what a Home Advisor ad is. That is what a Facebook ad is. You're renting it. Every single time you get a new lead, you have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. I'd rather just buy up front and then have the equity of that, just like a real estate deal. You buy it once and then the money just keeps rolling in. You don't have to keep paying for it all the time in terms of paying rent, like flushing money down the toilet. The same thing goes for owning a really good website. Having good branding. That's why you paint your trucks. You put your decals on your trucks. You look professional. Those are all things that have leads in perpetuity. They have a zero customer acquisition cost aside from the initial upfront cost. All right. So that's what I'd be focusing on right now. I would be taking any sort of leads that are free, any leads that are coming in. And if you're already to capacity, I'd be doubling up people inside your trucks, trying to prevent having to buy equipment right now, as well as I would be trying to focus on raising prices, weeding out the people that you're not making money on, because if you're getting free leads coming in, you should be replacing the ones that are the least profitable in your business, cutting out people that are far away in your service area that you're driving to now, and it costs $5 in gas just to get to their property every single week. So use this as an opportunity. If you've got leads that are coming in from a great website, from a great brand, to start weeding out other customers. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to buy trucks till next spring, great. Use this now as a time to take out the bottom 10% by raising prices, 20%, that's fine. And then replace those over time from those new leads coming in. You can only grow and expand your prices when you have confidence that you can replace those customers that cancel. And so making sure you have a stream of leads is the most important thing that you're not paying for all of the time. People are like, oh, Home Advisor is so fantastic. I'm doing Facebook ads. It's so fantastic. Great. But every single time you want a lead, you have to pay for it. And you're at the whim and the mercy of that platform raising prices, changing the way that they do targeting and all the rest of it. I'd rather invest in owned real estate, i.e. my website, my branding, my trucks being painted and decaled. Those are the type of things that give you leads in perpetuity. Right? You don't pay for it every single time that you have to get a new lead. So that's kind of my 2 cents for the day. We're going to be turning over to the callers. First call is from area code 219. You're on the show. Welcome.
Hi, Mike Andes. How are you?
Good. How you doing? What's up?
Hey, I'm doing great. So I have a quick question for you. I am currently 18. I do about 50 properties a week, and as you keep saying, there's definitely a recession coming, and I just want to know, should I be buckling down and preparing? Because my situation is a little bit different than probably most everyone else's, in the fact that I'll still have a roof over my head for the next couple of years, and I don't really have any large expenses. So should I be marketing heavily as the recession comes into play, and as more companies around me go belly up? Or should I more so lay low and try to ride it out?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a lot of belly up things until this winter, because most people will hold on through the growing season. What's going to happen is people are going to look at their tax return for 2022 and realize that they would have made more money just going and getting a job. And so that's a real realization for people when they have 1 or 2 and 3 employees and it's been a headache all year and they realize that they made only $20,000 at the end of the year. That's what's going to happen this winter, right? So the thing is, one, you don't have a lot of fixed expenses because you're able to be, you don't have a lot of family and you don't have a lot of costs, right? You don't have a house and a cars and all the rest of it, right? So it's a great time and a macro for your life just to invest in the business. So all of that to say, like right now, do you have an employee?
I do not. I'm just solo, set to the point where I can expand probably double my capacity. I have, commercial equipment and everything, so that equipment isn't a bottleneck, but currently right now I'm just solo.
Yeah, so I would be trying to invest in things that are not fixed expenses. So instead of buying another truck, another trailer, I'd be looking at things, what are your variable expenses right now that you can increase to grow the business? And that's going to be number one, getting an employee. And then it's, well, how do I get the employee? Because I need more work. Well, then it's a matter of, well, do you hire someone so that way you now have time? Because if you're doing 50 properties a week, you probably don't have a lot of time to actually go do marketing, whether it be knocking on doors, door hangers, following up on estimates, etc. So I'd be really looking at, okay, either A, I'm going to get a website that can start bringing these leads in for me over the next 6 months, 8 months. They'll start to rank well. And then B, I'm going to be looking for a variable cost, which is an employee. So that way I have more time to follow up on estimates, get the new jobs, do some door hangers around my existing customers, and really focus on route density, increasing prices, really doing all of that. Because then what's going to happen, if you can double your capacity, then have an employee, you can probably almost triple. And then it's a matter of save that money so that next spring rush, you're probably going to get another truck, another 1 or 2 employees. Your website by then will be ranking really well, so your leads will be pouring in, and then you'll have the cash set aside to invest in fixed assets like the truck, the equipment that's going to be required to be able to actually really expand next spring rush. Does that make sense?
Okay, so yeah, it suits me. Yeah, it does. It does. I do recall you saying, though, in previous episodes and such, website isn't necessarily for when you're starting out, which I would qualify myself as that. I'm not large. You said it's more so for like larger companies. So at what point should I consider it a website? Because that's a fixed expense, $400, what was it, a month or something? And that's pretty pricey in my opinion.
Totally. So and you don't have to start with lawn care web design.
It's more than
like lawn care web design. I've been on record saying like you only want to use lawncare.webdesign.com if your goal is above 200,000 in revenue, right, in annual revenue. Like, so if it's not this year, you're not going to do that. But if next year your goal is that, I would say you'd probably spend the $400 a month. Now, you don't need that to get started though. Go use Weebly, Squarespace, just get something started and start tracking it so that your domain name starts to rank well. Because even if you're going to use lawn care web design like in a year or 2 years, at least get your URL to start ranking well, right? So you can go on, create like literally for 20, 30 bucks a month, get a half decent website, get a domain, all the rest of it, and start putting stuff on there so you start getting some leads, right? So I would definitely recommend doing that. And then down the road, you could always use lawn care web design.
True. Yeah, that makes sense. For sure.
But yeah, I think overall,
All right.
my big thing is like, try to invest in variable costs right now, which is going to be the employee, and then really focusing on maximizing your profits and your capacity this year. And then next year, when you need to buy fixed assets, and that's when I feel like you'll really expand and grow. If you start the website now, and those leads will starting to pour in next spring rush, and then you'll have the capital to buy fixed expenses, which is going to be the truck, the equipment, all the rest of it. Make sense?
It does.
Awesome,
for
brother.
sure.
You have a great day. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Yep. All right, bye.
All right. Goodbye.
All right, next question is coming from, it says Branson, area code 417. You're up. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Riley. I live in Branson. I'm 12 years old, and I have a 36-inch, a mower, and a blower. Right now, I think I have about 10 yards, and it's all in 1 week. I was going to ask you, what would you do in that situation? Because I only have about 6 summers until I have other goals. So just like advertising and stuff like that.
Yeah, when you say other goals, are you going to go to college, like do something else? Is that kind of your plan?
Yeah, I wanted to go to a military college, so I don't think.
Yeah, so like I would say just try to keep really focused on route density and getting more customers without spending a lot of money, right? Because if you're only going to do it during summer, you're not trying to make a big business out of this. Your goal should be profit maximization, which is like, I want to make as much profit on these as possible. I'm not interested in like grow, get more customers, because I know one day I'm going to cut ties with this whole business. So I'd be focused on how can you get, from 10 to 20, like if you're at 10 now, how do you get to 20 customers in the same area that you're currently in, probably like your neighborhood? And then how do you take those 20 customers, and instead of making, say, $800 a year on them by mowing their lawn, how do you, instead of $800, you make $2,000 on them because you sell them a weeding package, a fertilization package, a bush trimming package, a mulch installation, you clean out their gutters. How do you just improve that value per customer that you already have sold? That's what my focus would be. Because if you know you're walking away from this business and your goal isn't to make this into a massive company, you shouldn't worry about like marketing and advertising that's expensive, like online. You should simply be looking at door hangers, flyers, knocking on doors, because you're not going to have your license for the next few years, so you can't even drive far. So just stay in that one neighborhood and just really, really make sure every single person knows who you are and what you do. And then upsell those customers once you get them into other services. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. You got it, brother. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Yep, bye. All right, next call is from area code 717. So there you go. Cool. Go ahead.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike, this is Ryan. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Hey, so you were talking about websites. We just had our website done for us, and it literally just went live, like, I guess a couple weeks ago or a week or two ago. And my question to you is, they want us to pay like $600 a month to manage this site. Do you think that's really necessary?
So how much did you pay up front for the site?
It was like $2,000.
Ooh, mercy. Yeah. So like, obviously you're talking to someone who has a web design company. So obviously I'm going to be biased, right? So, we've priced ours at $399. And we know what it costs. So just full transparency, it costs us about between $280 and $300 per month to keep a site running. And so what that means is it takes us about 6 to 12 months just to recoup the cost of the initial build. So what a lot of people will do, they'll charge that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on the initial build so they can cover their costs, and then they'll raise the price like to $600 for that recurring. We've just done the $399. There's no contract, and yes, we do get people that like will cancel after 1 or 2 months, and they'll rip off our design. It's very, very frustrating. But $600 is a little bit steep. If especially because you've already paid $2,000. Like in my mind, $2,000 should get you a half decent, like okay website, but it's probably gonna be stale and they're not gonna update it. So like my next question is, what are they doing for the $600 every month?
To be honest, man, I'm not exactly sure. My wife handled that whole process. I think it's basically just to like keep it updated every, with the seasons. Like if we're doing leaf removal, they'll change like the pictures and that type of stuff. And I'm sure there's other things like analytics.
Do you mind if I look at it?
They're
What's the
going to be
website
handling
name?
that.
Do you mind if I take a look at your site?
It's no, go for it. It's lionscapelawns.com.
Lion, like lion in Africa?
The animal, yeah. LIONSCAPELAWN.com.
Got it. Okay. Lionscape Lawn. Okay, let's pull this bad boy up. This looks cool. Let's go. This is built on WordPress. Okay. Boom. Let me share my screen. Boom. I love doing this. This is so much fun. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this site looks cool. Oh no, they did the worst thing that I always hate. They didn't put you on here.
What?
Where's your? Oh man. Okay, yeah. So this is easy.
Well, no. If you go to the About Us tab and you click that, there is a little blog on me and my family.
Okay, cool. I'm just looking at it, About Us. Oh, cool. Let's go. There's your family. Let's go. 5 kids, man. I'll keep you busy. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. No, this site looks good. I think the only thing. Oh, I love these. These are great. These are fantastic. I love these. Before and after sliders. Those are cool. I think the only thing is that I say this pretty consistently on most sites, honestly, and that is, and this is an easy fix, and that is just try to make sure that like this background image on your like homepage and as much as possible shows your trucks, your trailers, your uniforms, because that is your brand, right? Like Lionscape Lawn. I love the logo, love the name. I actually really like the site designs really well too. It's just a matter of like all these pictures of lawns and mowers could be any landscaping or lawn care company in the world. In fact, I know this image right here is a stock image because I've used it in one of my thumbnails. So just keep that in mind, like that the fact that your brand, which is strong in my opinion in terms of your logo, should be all over these pictures, like your uniforms, your trucks, etc. But aside from that, because this is a good site, like they did a good job. My question is, do you have to pay the $600 per month? Is that like some sort of a contract? Or is that like just an optional thing?
No, we do not have to. No.
Oh, that's cool. Like if you did nothing, would they let you keep the site?
Yeah. Then they just won't manage it.
That's the challenging part, because a lot of times what will happen is these companies will do this. They'll say, hey, you don't have to pay anything and then you can keep the site. But then when you want to make any changes, it's like, oh, well, then you've got to keep paying us from all this time that's gone by, because that's part of the package, right? So I would just try to get clarity from them, like, hey, if I want to make annual changes, do I have to keep paying, right? Like at Lawn Care Web Design, we've kind of figured out, hey, we know that $399 is what we got to charge for unlimited changes, because people add pictures or video that like on, like you said, like a seasonal basis, or they want to add a different service to their company or whatever it might be. We recently added something similar to this where it brings in their reviews. And so site's not bad. I think it's a matter of asking, what are you getting for that $600? And if you could possibly make it where it's like, hey, if I pay you $1,000 at the end of the year and you make changes once a year, like, is that going to cost me something? It is nice to have consistently having new banners, different pictures based upon the seasons, etc. And so I am a big believer in having unlimited changes. 600 is a little bit steep, but the site's good. I just wish you wouldn't have to pay the upfront $2,000, but it's a good looking site. I think they did a really nice job, honestly.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for that. And then my second question would be SEO services. Is that something that you would recommend?
So for $600 a month, I hope they're doing SEO for you. Like we do SEO for $399. So there are some companies though that will try to sell SEO as this like they sell it. The reason they're able to sell it is because not most landscaping home improvement businesses don't understand SEO a lot. They think it's like a job to do SEO. You can do a lot. You can do 99% of SEO that companies will charge $1,500, $2,000 a month for. You can do that in a matter of a few hours a month. And that's what we do at Lawn Care Web Design. And so this is a matter of looking at all of the backlinks, as a matter of looking at your titles and where you're ranking on certain things. Like all the SEO management stuff is probably what they're going to be trying to tell you for the $600. And you do need SEO management, but you just don't need to be paying thousands of dollars a month for it. We just had someone join Lawn Care Web Design, and they were paying $1,200 a month just for the SEO, not including the web design. So just don't go down that path. But if they're charging you $600 a month, I sure hope in the world that that's including your SEO management. Is it?
Okay. Honestly, I don't think so.
Mercy.
But like I said, my wife, she kind of handled that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure, honestly.
Yeah, like I don't want to badmouth them because I think they did actually do a really good job on the site. I think just being really clear about what's included in terms of changes, and then is the $600 just for design or does it include SEO? Right, and those are usually sold as two different things. So for anyone out there looking for a designer or someone to build their site, like most companies will sell SEO separate as an additional item to design. We at Lawn Care Web Design, we combine it all together and we do SEO for the $399. But you just got to make sure that someone will usually sell you a design up front, and then they'll say, oh, by the way, you need SEO, and so here's this monthly. Because you do kind of need someone to manage the SEO. You need someone to make sure things are updated. Every time Google updates their whole algorithm, you do need to adjust your design a bit. You do need to change the backlinks. But I just get really frustrated when people are paying $1,200, $1,500 a month, and it doesn't even include any ad spend. So anyways, but great site.
Yeah.
Great site. Best of luck to you, brother.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Mike.
You got it. Take care. Cool.
Yep. You too. Bye.
All right. Next question is coming from, it says Rodney, but this is from an area code of 954. You're on the show. Welcome.
Hey, Mike. How you doing today, man?
Good.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. Yep. What's your question?
Yeah, the question I have is for someone that's just starting out from zero, no lawn equipment, nothing like that. And with this recession starting, and I've been through a few of them. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Yeah, you're kind of cutting out a little bit, but I can hear you just fine.
Oh, yeah, I'm at the end of the world here in Homestead, Florida. Yeah, someone that's coming in with zero equipment, zero anything. Would you recommend them still going ahead and trying to start even with this recession coming in?
Yeah, like I think there's gonna be a good opportunity to pick up a lot of customers. I'm seeing a lot of very, very large companies scaling back simply because they just can't find employees. So that's the biggest mover in the market, because if someone goes from 50 employees down to 20 and they just focus on their core competencies, that is going to mean that literally 20 solo operators could get started with just the work they're letting go. Right. So I feel like starting is going to be the easiest. And a lot of people were very right when they were talking about the other day. I said like a lot of Chuck and a trucks will go out of business. That's true. However, there's gonna be a lot of Chuck and a truck starting because they lost their job. And because there's tons of work being handed down from these companies that are downsizing. So I actually feel like it's the best time to get started. Go ahead.
That's what I was thinking, the same thing. But as you say, trucks are like $20,000. Well, my area is 25, and they're used with like 180,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I got to pay really big up front to start, and hopefully I recoup in next couple of years or so. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'd just be trying to minimize your fixed expenses, right? So that way when we do hit recession and things do get cheaper, you have cash set aside. But in my opinion, when a recession happens, I feel like we're going to have a kind of a polarization. Everyone in the middle is going to get squeezed, whether it be the middle class, they're going to get squeezed like crazy. But then also when it comes to businesses, the size of business, the bigger companies, they're going to be fine. Like they've got the finances to get through this. But then also the small little guy, the one solo operator guy, he's going to be great because he's going to get all this work coming from the people who are downsizing. It's the people in the middle that are going to get squeezed if they don't have systems in place and they don't have enough margin, right? So for someone just getting started though, if you talk to a lot of people in lawn care and landscaping and home improvement, they actually got started in the last recession because they got their job went goodbye, right? So they got started then. So I think it's a good time to get started. I think it's a good time to also just button down the hatches right now. If you do have a few employees, to be able to have a higher profit margin and make sure systems are allowing for that margin. That's the really focus I'm really thinking about right now.
All right, well, I appreciate the info. That's going to give you confidence. I've been, tossing and turning. I've been through like last 2 recessions. And each time it's always trying to recover. So I got to be very smart this time. I'm up there in age, or not up in age, but getting there. I appreciate your time, man.
You got it, brother. Take care. All right, bye-bye. Yeah, I think the big thing is you have to realize that during a recession, it's going to be the scariest time to start a business, grow a business, hire employees, grow and expand your company. But ultimately, whenever the most fear is in any sort of investment opportunity, that is the time to go all in. And when it's the opposite, when everyone wants to do it, that's when you should be getting out of it. All right. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's gone down so much, and all of these cryptocurrencies, and what was the other one? Dogecoin. Like when everyone was hearing about it, that was when you should have sold. Right? So for example, let's just take a meme coin, like Dogecoin, for example. You should have sold Dogecoin the night that Elon Musk went on to Saturday Night Live and talked about it. That was the peak, like 74 cents or whatever it was. If that was peak, everyone knows about it. It's on the major network. Everyone knows about it. That's when you got to sell because that's what everyone wants to buy. That's where you should be selling. So, like I said, last October, when everyone was talking about buying stocks and they only go up, and the next meme coin, and like you had this whole craziness with GameStop and all this garbage, I'm like, I'm out. Forget this. Now, what's going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months is you're going to start hearing all the people in the Facebook groups, all your friends and other business owners that you talk to. They're like, man, it's so hard. Can't find employees. Trucks are so expensive. The gas prices are high. And they're right. It's hard. It's very, very difficult. But at the moment when everything is the lowest, that's when you should be going all in. The same thing goes for stocks and real estate. When they go way down and everyone's talking about how horrible it is, and we're going into depression and everything is in a bear market and we're all going down, everything's collapsing. That's when you go all in. And it's very, very counterintuitive. It's very, very scary, but that's why most people lose their shirt in the stock market. That's why most people lose their shirt in business. That's why most people lose their shirt in real estate, is because they go all in at peak a mania when everyone's thinking about it, and then when everyone's against it and everyone thinks it's a horrible time to start a business and a horrible time to be buying trucks and a horrible time to be expanding your company, then they sell out. And that's what's going to happen this winter. People are going to sell their company because of a really, really brutal 2020. Margin compression is everywhere. When you have gas prices double in the home improvement industry, that's going to sap your profit margins. When the cost of labor goes up 30, 40% in a matter of a couple of years because employees now have 50 different options and unemployment rates are so low, you're going to have massive margin compression. So when in 2021, someone made, say, 80 grand at the end of the day on their business, like take home profit was $80,000. All of a sudden, when that becomes 30 at the end of 2022, guess what they're going to do? $30,000, man, I gotta just go get a job and make 60 or 70K. That's what's going to happen. That is what is going to happen. And it's for the people that will jump in and go all into their business during the time of peak fear, when everything is at the lowest, and they go, okay, I'm all in. The next 12, 24 months, maybe it means talking to your spouse. Maybe it means talking to your employees and be like, hey, you're not seeing me as much for the next 6 to 12 months. I remember this specific conference. There was someone who had a question. This is at Landscape Summit, which, by the way, everyone should join mikeandes.com/summit. We have a conference coming up in January. And I'll get to the callers in the queue in just a second. But one of the questions that really impacted me was this gentleman in the back. He raised his hand. I don't remember his name, and I don't remember exactly the full extent because I asked a bunch of questions to get context. But he basically said, at the end of the day, his wife was not on board with him growing the business. and wanted him basically to be at home more often. And when I started questioning him, I came to realize he was only really spending about 20 hours actually out in the field doing estimates and working the business, because he was trying to be at home as much with his wife. And I said, look, you've got to realize that if you want to grow this business, because it's really, really tight, financially is really, really tight. And it makes sense when you're a small business and you're only working 20 hours inside the company trying to grow it. Like, you're just not going to make it work. Like, I can just guarantee it 99% of the time, you're not going to be able to make a business work when you're doing it 20 hours a week. And it's going to struggle financially. And so I told him, like, look, you probably have to sit down with your wife and say, hey, honey, the next 6 to 12 months, I need to lock in on this business, and I'm going to spend 40 to 50 hours a week working in the business. But if I do that, it's going to set us up and our family up for generations. Like, if you just give me these next 12 months, I can turn the business around. I can make this work. And I truly believe that for some people, they've got to sit down with their spouse, their employees, their manager, people that are close to them, and be like, look, we're going into a recession. The next 6 to 12 months, I need to focus on my business, because I am going to go all in on it now, because the returns that I get over the next 6 to 12 months, if I can just go all in, is going to be 3 to 4x what it would be if I wait 3 to 4 years. And I truly believe that. And this is how I look at, even for myself now. It's like, look, yeah, I know I don't have like a lot of social life and family life and all the rest of it. But like, number one, I enjoy business. But secondly, like, this is a window of time. It's the time to go all in. Because if you go all in at the right moments, you can literally set yourself up for years beyond that when you don't have to go all in. You don't have to be pushing your business 60, 70 hours a week. But the person who goes all in when everyone else is like, don't start a business, it's a horrible time, we're going to a recession, like, that is not the time to be scared. That's not the time to be walking away from your business and neglecting it and second guessing and getting a side job. It's not the time to be doing that. And it's the opposite of what everyone else is going to be doing when times are going to get harder, and it's going to get more and more in the news that everyone's losing their job. Just wait till like unemployment's high, start getting a bunch of foreclosures, real estate market starts to pop, especially in markets like Boise, Austin, all these places that people have been loving to live in the past 2 years. Just wait till all those start to crash, because everything that goes up that fast is gonna come down. It's not going to stay that way. It's like, oh, well, people are going to keep moving to Florida. I agree, people are going to keep moving to Florida and Texas, but they're not going to move at the same rates that we've been seeing over the past 2 years. It's going to pop. It's not going to pop down to what it was before, but it's going to come down 20, 30% easily. Like, guarantee it. So whenever you see in business, investing, any sort of emotion, like public opinion, when you see things spike, it always comes down. It always does. And guess what? When everything goes really, really far down, guess what? It always comes back up. In a few years, when the economy is red hot because of all the cash that's currently on the sidelines from investors that are not spending money on this market right now, and you have a new administration coming in and cut taxes and open up things like fuel and oil production, when you see all of that happen and we see this massive boom in the economy, that's when everyone's like, oh, it's a great time to start a business. Let's go. And they'll do fine. But the people who will actually make generational wealth and will crush it and have 2 to 3x the returns that those people will have are the ones that start now in a recession, that focus on their business and go all in now. They're the ones that will really win in the next decade. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here today. I got stuff I got to do today. I appreciate you all hopping on. A last thing is, I mentioned it, I put it on a community post, but landscapebusinesscourse.com, we're completely revamping it. The media team, we're hiring a new person to do graphic design full-time for us locally. And so we have a lot of people on the team, developers, website, and then the print side for long-term media, et cetera. But we're hiring another graphic designer, and we're going to be redoing the entire landscapebusinesscourse.com, which is this one right here. So check out landscapebusinesscourse.com if you want to join. It's important because when we are done that revamp and that whole redesign, it's going to be all new lectures. When that is done, we are going to increase the price. So if you're looking to, if you've been thinking about joining landscapebusinesscourse.com, then I would do it now, because everyone that joins now is just going to be grandfathered into the new program. Anyone that buys afterwards, it'll be at a higher price. So I just recommend, if you're thinking about joining landscapebusinesscourse.com, join now. there's like, I think about 35 hours worth of lectures, including some of the conference recordings from previous years that we've taken out. So check that out. There's some training on P4P, et cetera. But I really recommend, if you've been thinking about, join landscapebusinesscourse.com now. Everyone joins in the winter, but like join now. Even if you watch it later, once we revamp the course and it's all new content, then you can watch it then. But the price will go up. So I'm warning everyone now. So if you're thinking about buying it and you've been putting it off, just buy it now and then watch it later once we revamp the course, adding a whole bunch of new stuff in there. And I really appreciate all the support. That money goes directly into this channel, goes directly into making all this available. So I really do appreciate it. And I think there's another update I had. What was it? Oh yeah, anyone that does join the course or buys anything from me is how you kind of get on that email list. Someone texted me the other day like, hey, I saw you someone said you sent an email out and I did not get it. To join the email list, you just have to buy anything from Lawn Care Media, Lawn Care Web Design, P4P, Home Service Web Design, any of those sites. So I sent out one email yesterday, had a video about those car repossessions and kind of that trend, and several other things, articles that I written. So if you want to be part of the email list, what we call the members club, that I'll send out like on a monthly basis and create some exclusive content for you. I showed you behind the scenes of a new set we're building. Then make sure you just buy something, anything. Lawn Care Media, landscapebusinesscourse.com, Lawn Care Web Design, all of that is there for you. And I really believe that all those things will help your business. LawnCareBookkeeper.com, by the way, too. A lot of people will just join at the end of November, December, which is fine. But if you join now, you'll have everything, all your ducks in a row, because we go back to January 1st and do all of your reconciliations of your accounts and making sure your QuickBooks is set up correctly and all the rest of it. So everything will be in order by the time you hit January for tax season. So hope that is beneficial to all of you. LawnCareMedia.com. We have some really cool stuff coming up. That's why we're getting a graphic designer. Check out that too. I appreciate all of you. And oh man, I just saw we have a ton of questions. Decisions. Let's do some questions. All right. I didn't do questions last time. Okay, let me take this down. Boom. We're gonna do questions. Here we go. Let's see here. All right. I've seen a significant amount of less and less calls. Just a few months ago, business was booming and the phone was ringing. Now I might get 10 calls a week. Interesting. Very interesting. Really would depend on your market, depend on your real estate market locally, as well as what services you are offering. Recurring, we're seeing still very, very strong. Projects, we are seeing a drawback across the board. Mike, the type to tell you that you can make $8,000 a day just to do 8 cuts for $1,000 each. Oh, someone's mocking me about my TikToks probably. I use a wagon and walk because I'm 14. Let's go. I just recently, about a year ago, started a lawn care company. I appreciate the videos, dude. You taught me a few things. Cool. Hey, Mike, what do you think of leasing trucks compared to buying? The ROI should go up significantly. This what you're assuming is that leasing the trucks and the cost of those trucks is going to go down in time. Potentially. Leasing is extremely expensive right now too, though. So leasing trucks is a little bit dangerous in my opinion, because if you dent that thing, you're going to have to buy it. And now you're buying it at a premium. And I've seen that not work out well when someone doesn't have the cash and all of a sudden they need to buy a truck and then the financing doesn't work out. And then the interest rates are so high that now they're paying way more on the loan than they are on the lease. So I get a little bit worried about that type of lending when we go into an interest rate hike environment like we are currently in, when the interest rates are going up. But if you're from Germany, similar things are happening, but it's not a bad strategy to lease a truck right now. I'm just going to say it because it's the truth. It's not a bad idea to try to lease a truck. And then in a year or a year and a half, if you expect buying trucks to go down in price, to then buy a truck. My apprehension or my thought process, though, would be that the lease is probably 40 to 50% higher than it was in the past anyways. So you're still just going to be renting, quote unquote, that truck for those period of time at a very inflated price anyways. Like everything's inflated. But that is an arbitrage. If you really do believe that trucks are going to come down 40, 50%, that you'd lease right now for 12 months, and then you'd be able to flip it over into buying a truck down the road. That being said, you better hope and pray that you do not dent that truck, mess that truck up, have some sort of issue to where now you have to buy it. Yeah, my main mower just blew an engine seal. I've been pushing mowing all my accounts. It blows, but there isn't enough business to just drop $3,000 on a new mower. All right. Haha. Try used trucks around me in Pennsylvania. Good luck trying to find anything that drives less than 12,000. Yeah, it's crazy right now. I'm planning to go to the Landscape Summit 2023. Do I have to bring something specific with me? First time going to the US. Let's go. I wonder where you're from, which country. That's cool. Yeah, no, just go to mikeandy.com/summit. We got new speakers coming in that have confirmed they're coming in. I'm really, really excited about like Mike Callahan. From Simple Growth is going to be trying to make it. I'm working on a couple other big speakers, but can't say them yet because they haven't confirmed. And also going to have someone who is a dealer and owns a nursery and owns a dealership in the lawn care industry. He's going to be speaking, and also about light installations. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year. Gonna have more speakers. Let's see here. It took me 3 years of life just to figure out how to walk. I didn't expect starting a company would be any different. Crawl, walk, run. Very cool. Save cash and grow your business. Nothing gonna stop me. Let's go. In my opinion, if Amazon drops under $98, buy it. So when it comes to the stock market, you got to realize that, let's just say what goes from 98 to 200, right? You double your money over the next year. I truly believe if you spent $100 on one stock of Amazon right now, maybe you can double it in the next couple years. Okay. If you spend $100 on a mowing, getting like a mowing customer, just to use mowing, for example, and you're able to make $1,000 per year in revenue on that customer, and you're 20% profitable, that's $2,200 in profit. All right. And if you get two customers for that $100 or $98, because you spend $50 for your customer acquisition, you get two customers like that. That's $2,000 in revenue, $400 in profit over the next year. And by the way, you keep them for the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. You have an arbitrage of skill when it comes to your service industry. Compared to the stock market, most of us are not in the top 5 to 10% of stock traders. So why in the world do we do that? Why would you spend $100 on Amazon instead of your business if you're really, really good at your business and you're not in the highest percentile of stock pickers? Okay. What is SEO? Sorry, it stands for search engine optimization. Basically, Google ranking, trying to make their website rank better on Google. Hey, Mike, can you comment on the issues Command Center has had with franchises? I work for a franchise, and Command Center seems like a mess, scheduling things when we ask them not to. I don't know who this is, Mr. Awesome FTW. Feel free to email me. Don't know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, in the spring, I talked about on the public channel too. We had a lot of issues with Command Center just because of turnover and losing a lot of people. And so since then, though, a lot of those issues have been fixed. We have a lot of team members now. Stuff gets out really fast. We answer all the calls. Everything's back up to spec. CO is web pages. Connor Stead. Is the bottleneck still labor or is it lost customers? I don't know what you're saying there exactly. I see recession as a fire selling everything. Real estate is slowing down. Interest rates are up. Buy during the dip. Won't get any cheaper. I can't call in right now, but I'm super serious to know how to deal with chucks. I lost a job over $25. Long story short, the client hired an uninsured, unlicensed guy. Yeah, I would not worry about that. Just move on. Don't even spend the time of the day. Yet I have all my credentials and experience. How did that job slip through the cracks? You just don't want that client, which is exactly what Vladimir says here. Yeah. Yeah, and if it's affecting your business, what you want to do is make sure that you're making it more and more apparent that you are not them, right? So you got to focus on what can you do to ensure that when someone's comparing apples to, that they're comparing apples to oranges and not apples to apples. Because if all you're doing is cutting grass and that's the only differentiator, and is that you're insurance and licensed, you got to start thinking beyond that, right? Like that is a differentiator, and high margin, high value clients will value that. However, what can you do beyond that? Whether it be a website, whether it be your truck, whether it be professional uniforms, whether it be your marketing material, your branding, all of those things go into creating value in the mind of the customer, perceived value that will allow you to create differentiation between you and Chuck. Half these guys straight lie to your face and tell you whatever you want to hear to get the job. It's not the customer's fault. I'm a little scared of starting out now. I just got the truck and trailer, but haven't got the equipment yet. Should I wait till next season? I would not let scared of a recession right now stop you from starting. I would prevent the only thing it should scare you from in terms of growing your business is going into debt in order to grow right now, and extending yourself when you're not profitable and not cash flow positive. On the other hand, I have seen some legit companies doing right and still getting steady business. Can't figure it out. Yeah, again, I would really lean into what can you make yourself, how do you differentiate yourself beyond just licensed and insured? That is a differentiating point, but how can you go beyond that? Would be my recommendation. I work full-time as a cook, make $16 an hour, work out to like $34K a year. How hard do you think it will be to replace that as a one-man operation? As a one-man operation, you'll need to probably do about $60,000 a year, just to be conservative. So $60,000 a year, you can run the math backward. Let's just say you don't do a lot of install work. So if you're doing a lot of maintenance work, you probably need 50, 60 customers in order to replace that income. Thanks for the golden nuggets, Mike. Welcome. Does your business accept Bitcoin payments? No, it does not. If you have enough jobs, I'd walk away. If you don't have any jobs, I'd take it. You don't need the stress over $25 plus the personality customer. Cool. I'm a line cook right now too, making $15 an hour, and I just started working as a solo operator. I don't have any recurring jobs yet. I'm just starting to do my door knocking. Let's go. Good stuff. What do you guys think the bottleneck will be in the next few years, labor or customers? I actually think that in the short term, it's going to be labor. In the long run, it'll be customers for project-based work. But I think that we're going to have a very, very consistent maintenance. I don't think the recession is going to hurt maintenance very much at all, to be perfectly honest. Everyone is talking about universal income. Yeah, that's just because it's politically popular. It's horrible for the economy. And it's bad for people's brains, in my opinion. Would you pay your employees in Bitcoin under P4P? Never. Nope. I would never do that because it would be bad for them. Their pay would have gone down by 60% in the past couple months. Hey, Mike, I was wondering what you do with all your grass you get from your clients. Yeah, we have to bag clipping, so we just have to find shop space where we can dump it. So, man, someone really wants me to take Bitcoin. My goodness, no, we don't take Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin has really no foundation, has no way to actually value it. It is simply a matter of who will buy this, who will be a greater fool than I to buy it. That's the only really thing holding it down, holding it up, I should say. And yes, it's being used in places like Venezuela and other countries as a form of currency. But trust me, the central banks and central governments are not going to allow Bitcoin to rule the world, because it would eliminate their power. 100%. Hi, I'm my own business for mowing lawn care, but I was wondering if I could do Augusta for my weed control and fertilizing side. Feel free to talk to Lee. You just go to AugustaLawnCareServices.com/franchise. You can book a call with Lee and see if it might be work well for you. I wouldn't do this unless you already were pretty big. There's no point in joining Augusta if you're just going to do some fertilization stuff on the side. There's really not. Like you don't join Augusta just to do something on the side. You want to do it maybe as a side to get started, but you got to have the ambition to kind of grow it. Otherwise, it's just not worth joining a franchise. Just started a solo, and I've been using a small car. Every time I go out to work on a yard, I have to take apart my equipment just to fit in the car. Also, I have to drop it off to get trash picked up. Let's go. Hey, you got to start somewhere. Like when I first got started with mowing, when my brother got his license, we used a Dodge Caravan. We'd throw 2 push mowers in the back of the trunk as well. In Germany, we need actual dump trucks due to all the debris from hedge trimming. New trucks cost $33,000. Used ones are $13,000 to $15,000 in good conditions. Do you still recommend to buy used? I would say so. A lot of times what people forget is the fact that insurance on a new truck is sometimes double. Just keep this in mind. I'd run the numbers with your insurance agent. I've seen it before where the payment on a truck is almost as much. Sorry, the payment on the truck is barely more than the insurance paid on that truck. And if they would have just bought a cheaper truck, the savings would have paid for another truck payment. So just keep that in mind. That's the biggest thing. Wait, your question was about Bitcoin. I was talking about doing Augusta for my weed control and fertilizing side of my business. Is that something you'll be interested in doing? I think we addressed that one. Would you recommend bumping up marketing when entering a recession? During a a recession, marketing is going to get cheaper because companies will start cutting on their spend. So if you look at like the recent Google earnings reports or Facebook, Trade Desk, the like, they are seeing a decline in marketing spend, and that's typical going into a recession. Companies stop spending money on marketing, and that's the first place they cut. That's why, like in March 2020, there was like a 6-week window where you could spend money on Google and get like for nothing, you get clicks because everyone's froze their marketing budget. So this story is Jose from Spokane. He spent about 20 hours in the field and others at home working on the biz. My thought of new truck was with the warranty, losing over $600 per day when repaired. Yeah. My big thing is like, look, as the company grows, if you have 4, 5, 6 trucks, you might as well have an extra one that is like cheap and old, and you use maybe for 10 days out of the year when another truck is in the shop. So I think a lot of times people use, not as an excuse, but they somehow like make sense of buying new for the sake of like, oh, if a truck goes down, the time in the shop costs a lot of money. The fact of the matter is, if you just bought a truck, like instead of spending $600 a month on a lease or $600 on a truck payment, why not just buy a $10,000, $12,000 cheap truck and use it for 10 or 12 days out of the year when you need it because another truck went into the shop? It's still cheaper. So again, you're going to have some sort of scale in order to, you can't have like one truck and then one backup. Like that's 50% asset utilization. You don't want that where one truck is always sitting there as a backup and the other truck you use. You don't want that. But if you have like 2, 3, 4 trucks, get one other one that's cheap and literally you'll use it a few times a year when the other trucks are in the shop. And you won't have to go buy brand new on all 4 trucks. You'll just buy one cheap truck to make sure that when the other trucks are down, that you have something to back them up. But your customer acquisition costs will skyrocket, correct? Even with the lower cost of marketing. Depends on your service, right? So the only reason that your marketing costs would go way up is if demand starts to fall apart. And I feel like this would happen in project-based work. That's what I've been talking about, is less demand for project-based work. And therefore, a collapse in demand will cause price to go up. But if you're having the supply of advertisers go down, the cost will come down for advertising. He can see the retracted post. I don't know what he's talking about. I didn't retract any posts. So I know in Washington State we have to bag our clippings. However, does your business have to pay to dispose of clippings that the city dumps or wherever you dispose it? No, we just have it at our shop space where we're able to dump. My 03 F250 runs strong, but if it were to go down, I have an 82. Let's go. F150 as a one-man business. That's cool. Let's go. Tax-wise, vehicles are depreciated, so it helps somewhat. Yeah, when you start bringing taxes into the equation, it's a total different ballgame. A lot of different stuff, right? Because you start talking about, okay, well, if I can get a $50,000 brand new truck, I can get a loan on it, but then Section 179 it immediately. Everyone always talks about that, but you got to realize that you got to do, if you sell that truck or before the full depreciation of the value of the truck, you got to do what's called depreciation recapture. So you can't buy a $50,000 truck, put it on debt, take a $50,000 deduction on this year on a Section 179, and then next year sell it. You can't do that. And if someone's telling you can do that, they have no idea what they're talking about. I see people talk about this all the time on social media. It's like, oh, well, just buy the truck in December on a loan, and in the Section 179, you can write off the entire value of that truck, even if you get debt on it. You're like, yeah, you're right. But if you sell that truck before the full depreciation, you have to depreciation recapture. So if you sell it in year number 2 and you did a 5-year depreciation, guess what? $40,000 is not going to be, you're going to get taxed on that $40,000. You only depreciate the $10,000 over the course of 5 years, and you take a Section 179 up front, there's depreciation recapture on that. So I'll keep that in mind. What tip with the one reserve truck per 3 to 4 trucks was really helpful? Thanks, Mike. And I don't even think you need one reserve truck per 3 or 4. Okay, it depends on how old and junky your trucks are. But I would say you just need one truck for your business, unless you have more than probably 15 trucks. If you get above 15 trucks, you probably need 2. But I would say you probably need one reserve truck per 10 trucks, unless you really plan for multiple trucks to be going down, which we rarely have seen that. How do you feel about long-term renting a truck to work with? I don't think it's a great strategy because if you dent it, et cetera, and if you're using it consistently, it's probably worth it just to buy a truck. renting is pretty difficult, honestly, to make it worthwhile if you're doing it long term. If you're doing it for like a month or two, or like a one-time project, or you do it on the weekend once a month to do a project or two, probably a good idea just to rent like U-Haul. First loan should be a new mower. Everything that'll get you motivated, cheap truck and trailer, or those you can come later. Cool. All right, we're going to call it a day. We're over an hour. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Check out lawncarewebdesign.com, landscapebusinesscourse.com, lawncaremedia.com, p4psoftware.com. What else do we got? Homeservicewebdesign.com. I don't know. I just forget. I got to pay the bills, though. We got to pay the bills. Every dollar goes back into making this stuff better, and I appreciate all of your support. Oh, we got more questions? I'm sorry. I'm going to have to call it a day. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next Saturday for the live, and I'll see you tomorrow for regularly scheduled programming. Tomorrow's a good one. It's actually going to be about buying a shop space, and I actually show you a real shop space that I was looking at. Ended up not buying it because the offer didn't go through. Spoiler alert.